out, and that is going to be a huge loss for Mystic Prime. That is going to half his income. You guys can see his harvester count still lower than the Protoss player, but it looks like thanks to saturation he is going to be able to stay even with the Protoss for now. It looks like Mystic might be going for a counterattack, but a Side Storm landing down on the Speedlings to really whittle them down. Cheetah here has a 121 food army. He's got a nice composition, +1 armor and +1 weapons, whereas Mystic Prime has only gotten +1 weapons for both the Speedlings and the Roaches. I really would like to see him get some Carapace to lower the efficiency of the Protoss army when it comes to doing battle. It looks like Cheetah is now also going to secure that gold expansion. This is going to make his Protoss army that much more powerful against the Zerg, especially once he gets this saturated. He's going to just be able to boost out a bunch of units, and there really is no stopping the Protoss player at that point. Mystic here is going to have to make some kind of an attack in the next couple of moments, ladies and gentlemen, because if he allows this Nexus to go up, then it's going to be absolutely horrible for the Zerg when it comes to economy versus economy. Mystic here is also trying to secure or resecure this expansion down to the south, but 3 base versus 3 base really does favor the Protoss, especially with that gold expansion. It looks like Mystic Prime, realizing that, is going to try to push out right now. He has Lings and Roaches, and I'd really like to see him eventually tech up to Hive and get that Ultras. It looks like Hive is starting to morph in right now. Get Ultras, get Broodlords. That would help immensely versus the Protoss player. Cheetah Prime right now, who is starting to saturate this gold expansion. It's kind of interesting to note that Cheetah has not gotten any Colossus whatsoever or any Immortals, and dealing with all these mass Roaches, I'd really like to see him get some Immortals out, because if Cheetah had some Immortals, Immortals just wreck Roaches, no problem. It's just so easy. It's just like melting butter. And unfortunately for Cheetah, he doesn't have any Roaches. He's still producing out of all of these warp gates, so relying completely on warp gate technology, does not have any robotics tech at all. This Protoss player is just going down one lane of technology, and it looks like he is going to walk up towards this gold expansion, but that is a lot of Roaches and Lings. It's all going to come down to the Side Storm, ladies and gentlemen, and the feedback landing on the Infestors. Those Infestors losing all their energy, but the Sonic Storm just doing so much damage to the Roaches. The Roaches are just getting obliterated, and I was saying before that Sonic Storm isn't that effective against Roaches, and I still hold to that point. But honestly, the thing that Cheetah was able to do there was ward away the Roaches so that he could take out the hatchery. So he didn't kill off any of the Roaches, but he still killed the hatchery, and it looks like he's going to do the same exact thing once again. Mystic burrowing to get away from the Sonic Storm. Not sure if that was the wisest decision, because Burrow really makes the Roaches move a lot slower. He's going to try to defend this hatchery. Is he going to be able to? It looks like he is going to ward the Protoss player away, but I think Cheetah was just waiting for another fresh batch of Templar to storm once again. I'm not sure why Cheetah isn't storming over the Roaches. He knows that they're there, and there we go, one storm going down. And this is where the Protoss players storm. The effectiveness of storm really it becomes a lot less weaker, because Roaches are just so bulky compared to Sonic Storm. But look at this, Mystic Prime going to be using a Nidus Worm. He's actually landed a Nidus Worm into the Protoss main. If he kills off this pylon, this would be absolutely huge, because this pylon is the only thing powering all these warp gates. This pylon is going to get taken down, and 4 or 5 warp gates getting unpowered right there. That is absolutely huge. Mystic Prime should really bring in some more Speedlings, some more Roaches. It looks like he is going to load in a couple more, but all the Protoss army coming back in once again, and it looks like Mystic is going to go for a forking counterattack. He's going to look to go straight for this gold expansion, where the Protoss army has been pulled back into the main. He has used that Nidus Worm essentially as a distraction, but I'm not sure why Mystic Prime decided to burrow right there. I feel like he could have tried to steamroll this gold expansion, but it looks like he is going to play a little bit more cautiously, gonna fall back. Meanwhile, in the production tab, we have blink beam research for the Stalkers. That is going to help immensely versus those Roaches, and we also have an Ultralisk Cavern going down. A lot of Nidus Worms for Mystic. My goodness, that is just Nidus heaven. Mystic is really using these Nidus Worms unlike any Zerg player before. Most Zerg players don't use Nidus Worms, and look at that, a second Nidus Worm going down into the Protoss main once again, and the Worms are going to help the Zerg players' mobility immensely. Could this be the new revolution of Zerg play? Using Nidus Worms to really increase that mobility, and it looks like the entire Protoss army getting caught out of position once again. Mystic Prime flooding all of his Roaches into the main, for another massive attack. We finally have a robotics facility up and running. Where are the immortals for our Protoss player? It looks like there's just so many roaches inside the main. How can Cheetah possibly deal with this? There are 2 Nidus Swarms flooding roaches into the main base of the Protoss player. Cheetah here is getting all of his forces stuck behind his buildings. 1 storm landing down, 2 storms landing down, but Mystic burrowing and trying to run away from the Psionic Storm. Mystic here is keeping those roaches alive, and this is what, like I was saying, Storm is just not that effective against roaches. Roaches can handle the Storm. They have anti-electric properties in their armor, and look at that. It looks like Cheetah wasting his Storm down where he thought the roaches were, and right now Mystic's brilliant play is using his roaches to dodge the Storm. You guys can see Cheetah tried to storm the roaches for Mystic, trying to anticipate where the roaches were, but he constantly missed. Mystic here looks like he's finally going to run the roaches away. Great play right there from our Zerg player, really abusing that burrow technology to get away from the Protoss, and then use that to play mind games with the Protoss Templar. But it looks like Mystic now has finally gotten the final evolution of the Zerg tech tree. He's gotten Ultralisks out, and he's going to use this Ultralisk to try to barrel down this Protoss gold expansion. He's killed off that pylon, powering 4 of those cannons. That's going to be huge, and it looks like he could possibly take out this Nexus. If he can snipe out this Nexus, this would be a huge comeback for Mystic Prime. Or yeah, he's gonna pull away from that Nexus just in the last couple of seconds as the Protoss player was coming in. But it looks like we have another Nidus Worm coming in, and it looks like Cheetah was able to cancel that Nidus Worm. A couple of roaches also burrowed inside the Protoss main as well. Look for those to do damage later on. Another Nidus Worm warping in from the north, and it looks like right now the gold expansion could possibly go down. A ton of Ultralisks running in here. They are just mawing their way through, but it looks like Mystic is going to fall back with his Ultras. Meanwhile, the roach is unburrowing, sniping off the Templar, and then possibly going to burrow once again. Great multitasking, great multiple avenues of attack from Mystic. He is just abusing the Zerg mobility as best as he possibly can right now, and he's still keeping those roaches alive inside the Protoss main base. He is trying to just run them away from the Storm. He sniped off several of those Templar, but it looks like those roaches are finally going to meet their maker as those Stalkers warp in. And my god, there are so many Ultralisks that it just pops out of that Nidus Worm, and this Protoss main base is absolutely dead. There is no way this Nexus can survive unless this Protoss army can come back in time, but I don't think it's going to happen. Ultralisks just do so much damage. They are just huge walking elephants, and another Nidus Worm is going to pop out of the ground, and look for more reinforcements to come out of this network. Oh no, it looks like Mystic is going to use that to evacuate his forces. Really like that play right there. He killed off the Nexus, he brought in a Nidus network, and he evacuated those expensive Ultralisks, and Mystic is going to be bringing in the next Nidus Worm. Will the relentless assault ever end? I don't think so. Cheetah Prime has got to be on the back foot right now. He has got to be sweating balls right now. If I could see his face right now, I bet he would be so nerve-wracked right now as another ambush of Zerg forces is coming into the main base of the Protoss player. I don't see how any player could possibly survive this, and this is really a testament to true Korean style play. Constant harass, constant attacks from multiple avenues. What can the Protoss player do? He is trying to keep his army in one tight ball, and that is what Protoss players need to do to stay alive against the Zerg swarm. But it looks like he's going to sacrifice his entire main base to go for the Zerg gold. I'm not sure I agree with this decision. He is going to lose all of his infrastructure. He is not going to be able to warp in any more reinforcements. He has got so much Templar for Psionic Storm, but unfortunately Storm